Welcome to SML Total Access, where we break down news, predictions, and more in our Madden League. Now, let's get fired up for SML football.
Hello and welcome back to SML Total Access. I'm Primetime 000, joined by Matt and Dan. How's it going, fellas?
Oh, not too much. How you feeling though, Prime?
Yeah,
come on, man.
champ is here.
Champ. It's amazing how we get a TA right after your Super Bowl.
Yes, you know that's happening. Hey, I guess that's perks of being the boss or something. I don't know. Hey, let's start off. First down, recapping season 54. Obviously, Chargers win the Super Bowl. Total Access now has 3 Simbardi winners this cycle, the winningest show on the SML network. We'll start with you, Matt. What do you think about the season?
Yeah, I mean, it went how I thought it would. Once Rodgers retired, it's wide open. We knew Faz would choke, and then it was just a matter of whether you could beat whoever showed up, and it was QP. And I thought it was an overall good season. I thought the NFC bounced back. I mean, last season it was like 7-10. I mean, last season, honestly, I was looking at the standings like week 16, 17, and I'm serious. I don't think anybody was eliminated. Maybe KJ, maybe some of those guys. But if you had 4 or 5 wins, you were in the hunt in the NFC. So the NFC bounced back. I was nice to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Bomber missed the playoffs. No one could have expected that to happen. So overall, I thought it was a great season. Obviously, didn't end the way I wanted to as far as my season goes. But if I can't win, I'm glad you did.
Thank you, Matt. Dan?
Hey, I thought it was really competitive. I think both sides had some really good playoff games, some games that kind of came down to the wire. Man, it was great to see Woods not only make a great run there at the second half of the season, but then beat Bean in the playoffs and then give Prime a little bit all he could handle there. So overall, again, hey, it's been a long cycle with a blips here and a blip there, everywhere, blip. But, we're still pushing strong at SML and got some good games, and it's been fun.
Yeah, it was cool seeing some guys make the playoff, like you said. Woods got in there. He made a little bit of noise. Bean had a really close game with them. In the NFC side of things, Paulie had put kind of Faz. He had Faz on the ropes for a second there, didn't pull it off. AJ made the playoffs. Meats got throttled. But it was a good, strong season, obviously. I'm very happy with the result. It felt overdue. Obviously, I'm super competitive, and I always think I should win. But I felt like I was so close so many times, and anyway, I'm glad it turned out the way it did. So,
hey, real quick, do you think Q put all his effort into Faz and just kind of overlooked you? I mean, what you thinking on the game?
Yeah, I think he might have, and I think part of it is maybe at fault of his allies there, because after the game, I went back and watched the stream, and Faz, he was like, yeah, it's gonna be a good game. My projection is Q's the heavy favorite, and I think the spread's a little far apart. So I felt disrespected even watching that. But yeah, I don't know. I think Q thought I was just gonna roll over for him, and hey, I guess that's why you don't give your all in week 15 when you know you might play a guy in the Super Bowl. So maybe lesson learned for him. Second down. Speaking of Faz. I don't know if you guys watched that NFC Championship game, but maybe the biggest choke job I've ever seen in the SML. We've seen Meats, we've seen Doink, but he has a chance to ice the game against QP. He just needs a first down. He misses a drag or cross route that at least it would be very close to first down, but he throws a throw just crazy on the run, gets pick-sixed, drives downfield, and misses a field goal that would have pushed it for overtime. I mean, what do you guys think about that by Faz? And again, now another season passed where he doesn't have a gunslinger, set feet lead elite quarterback, where he doesn't win the Simbardi. Dan, we'll start with you.
I got 2 thoughts on this. One, kind of give a little positive for Faz. Hey, you had a rookie quarterback. You were by far the best team going into the playoffs. You played Q, who is a top-notch quality player, right down to the wire. Hats off to you for that. However, the negative part of it, though, Faz, this narrative that, again, is it real? Is it not? Is it SML? Is it made up? Man, it's hard to put that to bed right now, because when the game was on the line, when the moment was needed, you probably thought, hey, Rodgers can make that throw. All my best quarterbacks can make that throw. Why can't this rookie make the throw? And maybe just got a little bit too arrogant in that moment, and it cost you. And now we've got another, I think Prime just worked it out like 37 days or 40 some days till you can prove that narrative wrong. So it's going to be a long few weeks here. And I think Faz has to kind of sit with it a little bit and kind of, prove us wrong. But he hasn't yet. So we'll see.
Yeah. Matt?
Yeah, I know Rowan's going to listen to this and he's going to say, "Oh, he was 16-1. He's been dominating. He dominated." Okay, Coop posted a picture of Matt Barkley in chat earlier. He's like a 43 overall. Faz could go 15-2, 14-3 with that guy. But what matters, what comes down to the difference between having those abilities and a guy like Alan Whiting without them is when you play competition that can match you. Because again, Faz is a great passer. He knows concepts. He knows how the game works. He knows how to read a defense. He can pass with anyone. But when you come into these games against players that can match you talent-wise, and it's a do-or-die situation, all it takes is that one mistake, that one missed throw, whether it's your fault or your quarterback's, or even if it's not a missed throw, it's a throw you don't think you can make, so you don't pull the trigger and you take a sack, or you throw to the wrong guy, whatever it might be. The confidence that you don't have to make those plays changes everything. I mean, if you look at the box score, Davis Mills threw 3 interceptions. James Cook ran for 3.8 yards a carry. If I didn't show you the score, you would think that Faz won this game by multiple scores, but he only completed 60% of his passes. That's not like Faz. An 11-yard average, 2 interceptions. He couldn't run the ball. He didn't guard Chris Godwin, which you could look at a stat sheet and know you need to do that. 7 catches, 134. I don't know what Faz was doing in this game, but the narrative is real. If he doesn't have that gunslinger, pass lead elite, whatever you want to call it, he's not the same guy when it comes to games like this. Yes, next year he's going to go 16-1, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to these games where he plays guys on his level, he doesn't have that extra oomph to get by him. And we all saw it coming, and it happened.
Yeah, the interesting thing is people will point out SML narratives, and Doink will do it in chat. He'll be like, "Oh, it's SML narratives, it's just part of the thing." And there is, don't get me wrong, sometimes one thing will happen and somebody will automatically create something. But there also are narratives that have been tried and true, and Faz without gunslinger, set feet, lead is another player. I don't know if you remember Faz on the Jags early this cycle, but he was not Faz as he was on the Packers. The truth is, whether he acknowledges it or not, this will eat at him, and he's either going to really push hard to get another Simbardi, or he's going to let it fester and he's going to keep losing. But if you're a true competitor, which I know Faz is, he's gonna do his best to prove next season that, okay, yeah, I'll go and win with Alan Whiting. And who knows, maybe this guy, he gets a few more attributes and boosts. I think he's an X factor now. Maybe he gets it. Who knows? But tell you what, he missed the draft, and this guy gets picked up in the 3rd round. I mean, he's got blessed by the Madden gods that even has a superstar quarterback.
Talk about getting all the breaks.
So at least he's got a decent quarterback. I mean, a lot of people would be happy to have somebody like that. So, 3rd down. Will there be a non-Simbardi winner? There's obviously Dan's got one, Matt's got one, I got one, Faz got 2. Will there be somebody this cycle who hasn't won a Simbardi, will win one, or will it just be traded off between us 3 or 4 guys? And Matt, we'll start with you.
Nope. Go ahead, Dan. No, just kidding. The answer is no. We just kind of ripped on Faz a little bit, but guess what? He's going to go 15-2, 16-1 again next season, and he's going to do well in the playoffs. He's going to face Q again. We know exactly what's going to happen. And Prime, you're not going anywhere. I mean, your team, I think Khalil Mack's sticking around. Obviously, yep. Herbert's going to stick around. I know maybe Malik Willis. I know you're going to have a little bit of a competition there to decide the starter. But, either way, I think you're going to do great no matter who wins that. And, I think, Dan's got the Simbardi. I think he's kind of the one person kind of lying in waiting that could sneak out between the 3 of you, Faz, and Q. But he's already got one. So I don't really see anybody else contending.
So do you think Q wins?
So I think you missed a little. Well, you missed a little bit of the question, I think, because the question really was outside of Q. We all think Q's got a real shot, right?
Yeah, Q's got a shot.
So that takes a while. Everyone's kind of thinking, well, Q. Yeah, the question really was anyone other than Q have a shot. So you're looking now at guys like Paulie, you're looking at Bomber, you're looking at Woods, you're looking at Monty, you're looking at the guys right underneath that, D Muse. And again, it just feels like there is a legitimate glass ceiling that these guys cannot break through. Like they might be able to get that one win, possibly two. But the problem is in each conference, you're probably going to have to get 2 wins just to get to the Super Bowl and then play someone in the Super Bowl. And so I don't think it's going to happen if it's already happened, because none of those guys that I've listed really have some super teams. Woods does a little bit, and maybe can ride Mahomes a little bit, but Woods just isn't quite that kind of passer. So I don't think anyone outside. I think Q still got a shot to get there. But I think everyone else, there's a glass ceiling, and I don't think they're going to break through.
Yeah, it's tough, and I think it's part of the way how the divisions are structured that I think is making it tougher on these guys who might not be Big Four, the Fantastic Four, or Big Five if you include Matt. But because let's look at the AFC for example. Right now, it's either Matt or Dan is the 5 seed. So it's not like a lot of times it's not like Prime versus Dan in the wild card round. And then one of them gets knocked out. It's like you have to beat Dan, and then you might have to beat Matt, and then you might have to beat. I mean, that's tough. And then you have to beat Faz or QP in the Super Bowl, and same way in the in the NFC. It's going to be tough. I would like to see a guy like Dom make some noise. He's been relatively quiet this cycle. I know he had that crazy upset win over QP, but he's just been quiet. So I like to see someone like him. Paulie was real close to beating Faz this year. He plays him close in the playoffs. This isn't the first time he's done it. Meats has beat QP a few times in the regular season. Guys like that have a chance, but it's going to be tough to string it together. I mean, it's a bloodbath. It will be interesting to see if how he kind of responds to this adversity. I think he said it was his 4th straight Super Bowl loss. That's tough. I mean, that's tough on anybody to lose 4 straight Super Bowls. But
yeah,
go on.
I think Dan made a really good point. Like, this would be a lot better and easier of a conversation if the guys that already have Simbardies didn't also have really, really good teams.
Yeah.
Like, those, it doesn't matter. If Faz had the Saints or the Panthers or the Falcons, he's going to be a great player, right? You were great with the Colts. But when I had Herbert and the Chargers and you had the Colts, it kind of leveled the playing field a little bit, and I got one by you. So that just doesn't exist right now. They have the best teams, and I don't know how you overcome that if you're not on their level.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a push this summer for those guys that think they're in the Fab Five, whatever we're calling that, to make a pack not to grab some of these best teams. I think it'd be a lot more fun to see how that plays out. I know you're going back probably the Colts. And
sure.
I'm just going to call out for some of those other guys. And so that's just a general player for that.
Yeah, I'm taking the Colts next year. I think it's just better for elite guys to kind of take teams that you kind of have to build up. And the second of all, obviously, when the blip happens, you just kind of take whoever because you don't want to be bored. But I think it's better for guys to not take elite teams as elite players. So 4th down, spread the love to somebody. Dan, we'll start with you. Who you loving?
Yeah, I'm going to go to Q. We've been talking about him, and I know he's feeling pretty down. Like we mentioned, 4 straight bowls that he's lost. I think he's now lost 2 to his favorite team this cycle, to Chargers twice now. And, getting over the fast hurdle and then kind of having the letdown. Hey, man, Q, again, you are by far one of the top players, no matter wins or losses. You do it the right way. You play fair. You're considerate to your opponent. You're not trying to be a jerk ever out there. And I just really appreciate the competitiveness that you bring. And so lick your wounds and get into that darkness where you need to be, but always know the sun shines right after the darkest of the dark. So, man, get back out there. I'm excited for you. You're going to win one before the cycle's out.
Yeah, I've got 2 here. I'm going to start with Gilbert. This poor guy is 0-17. It sounds like he doesn't really have very many wins in his SML career if you include primer. I think someone was mentioning so they were in a stream when he beat somebody, and maybe that's the only time he's ever won a game. But he's great in chat. Mike never sells short of reminding Gilbert that he's not any good. So props to him. I can't imagine going 0-17 and keeping that same level of interest and just positivity. So hats off to you, Gilbert. You're a great guy and a great addition to the league. But my biggest share of the love is a guy that needs it, and that's Bean. The poor guy's 0 for 11, 10 in the playoffs. Finally gets somebody like not me, not Prime, not Dan. It's Woods, and he's got this guy beat. He throws a long pass to the 1 yard line. Woods doesn't know what to do. He doesn't call hurry up. He doesn't call his timeout. He's picking a play nonchalant. Bean calls a timeout, saves Woods, and then Woods throws an RPO, gets jumped by Bean. Great play. Bean calls another timeout. Yeah. That was so shocking. Woods thought he called the timeout. I had to tell Woods, no, Bean beat you to calling the timeout.
Yeah,
this guy had a game one. I don't know if if you were trying to lose the game, you wouldn't have called timeouts there. So Bean, I still don't know why you called him, but I love you, buddy.
Yeah, that was.
Wait, how's that sharing the love? You just ripped on him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, that's funny.
You just wanted to say at the end, "I love you." That makes up for it.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's funny. For me, I do want to share the love to Woods. What a turnaround season he had. I'd also like to point out AJ making the playoffs his first season. Like you said, our too short friend Gilbert. 0-17. No retirement talk in Twitter. No retirement talk in chat. Just straight positivity. And then finally, I would like to share the love to the Thanos Club. Rowan was very quiet. He was depressed. Fins, everybody who was rooting on QP and was let down. I love you guys. I'm sorry that it turned out the way it did, but hey, you're always welcome to support me in the future if you don't want to be let down. All right, extra point. Matt, what do you got?
Yeah, so I had written this down before we had the non-Simbardi winner question earlier, but these are my top 5 members who have not made a Super Bowl this cycle that I think might make the Super Bowl. Okay. I'm not going to say they're going to win it. I'm not ready to go that far. I did omit Bomber from this just because I feel like he would be the clear number 1, obviously. So just for the sake of suspense, I took him out. My honorable mention is Noel. He has proven that he can beat some of the better players in this league, or at least hang with them. He's also got 2 difference makers. Nick Chubb can take over a game and win the game. I noticed when I played Noel in the wild card, he likes to shorten the game. It felt like I was playing KJ with his hot routes and his whatever he was doing. I had the ball like 4 times. I just happened to score on all of them. And then he's got Myles Garrett, who will just absolutely eat your lunch. But at number 5, I've got Bean himself. Listen. The guy was 11-6. Let's not take that away from him. Mm-hmm. He's in a winnable division. I think he's probably going to win that division all the time. He's got a lot of hours in this game. He has got the number 1 pick. Look for Bean, and I know he hasn't won a playoff game, but sometimes all it takes is 1, and then boom, maybe that just propels him over. So I've got Bean. At number 4, I've got Woods. And God, you know what? If you told me a month ago that I would put this guy here, I wouldn't. But gosh, he's looked good. And to Prime, he lost to you in the regular season twice, but by 3 points. It was like 24-21 on both of those. He's got a really good team. That pass against Bean to win the game, there's like 3 guys that make that, and he has one of them. So with that team, that quarterback, Woods, I said it. You don't want to be against Mahomes in a do or die. You do not want to do that. And so Woods is there. I think he's going to ride that momentum. At number 3, I've got AJ. Man, I tell you what, I know he lost to Dom in the wild card round. I know it was multiple scores, but I commentated that game, and he was in it, and then the wheels just kind of fell off. He doesn't have a great quarterback. He kind of inherited whatever QB put together there. Maybe he doesn't make it this cycle. I think he's got a chance. But let's pay close attention to who AJ gets next cycle. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to be the next big thing. At number 2, I've got the Pauly man himself. This guy just, as soon as Aaron Rodgers retired, this guy came out of the woodwork and is suddenly now just 12-5 and just beating dudes up. And he gave Faz all he wanted. I know they've played 7 times, and Faz has won them all. But he plays them close. Pauly, retool, get better this draft. Hey, I think what Pauly needs is someone to beat Faz. And if that happens, he can beat Q. I think he can beat everybody in the NFC. I don't know if he can get over Faz, but he needs that person to beat Faz first. Mm-hmm. And at number 1, maybe this one is as obvious as Bomber potentially, but it's Dom. I I just think Dom plays the style that can beat QP and can beat Faz. He knows them well. He's friends. I don't know if he's actually friends with them or if he just stays close to make sure that he can get by him. I mean, Dom's sneaky like that. I met the guy, so
Yeah, he is sneaky.
and that's not a bad team. He's got an X factor running back now. I don't know what he got as far as ability. He's got speed everywhere. Watch out for Dom.
Yeah, that's a good list. That's a good list.
Good list. Yeah, good list. Good list.
There's a lot of guys who can make a run at this thing, and they're especially if they have a good off season, make a trade or two. I'm sure there's gonna be some guys holding on to certain players because we're winding down in the cycle. But hey, you get hot at the right time, and maybe get a fumble here, a fumble there, and you never know what'll happen. So, yeah, no, that's good. It was a good season. We're looking forward to season 55, and hey, it looks like we might have 3 more seasons left of SML football this cycle actually. So we'll see what happens. Guys, we appreciate you listening. Until next time, thanks for watching SML Total Access.